Happy weekend, my MPP peeps. Welcome to the first ever weekend free-for-all, where I'm going to go over everything that I'm seeing from the general markets to individual tickers. This is a free session, but I have this for members every day at open and at close, where I go over all the trades that I'm looking at, and I answer all the questions you have live on these Zoom conference calls. So if you like what you hear today and want more of it, membership is only $50 and the first month's free. So give it a shot. All right, let's get into it. First up, SPX. Really bullish week. Had a nice gap up at the beginning of the week and then consolidated right here below the 200 SMA for the rest of the week. I'm still bullish. I still expect higher as long as this 10 SMA holds. If we do at any point close below this 10 SMA, there is a possibility of a deeper pullback because we do have 5 waves up, it looks like here. And if we do pull back, I'm looking for, the 50 SMA, possibly 26.79, and then a deeper pullback will be around 25.86 if we've seen the top. But as long as this 10 SMA holds, I expect at least a touch of this 200 SMA, and if we can hop over it, we could get 30.50, and then if we can hold above this 200 SMA and test it, retest it, and then head higher, we have a very good possibility of a V bottom. But it's going to take some time, I think, because we're in this, as you can see, in late summer to late fall of 2019, we had this really long consolidation period where it took some time to bust out. And then we lost that support, and now we're right back into it. So it could take a lot of time to break through this area just like it did in 2019. So we could get some chop. So, be patient and definitely be careful because you don't want a choppy market to chop you up. So the levels to watch are this 10 SMA. If it breaks below, we could be heading lower. And this 200 SMA, if it breaks above, we could be heading higher. So right now we're just in this indecision zone, and the market hasn't quite decided yet, and we should wait until it does. The NDX is probably the best looking, well, definitely the best looking of the bunch. Tech is just on fire. Tech hasn't been as affected by COVID as most other names or most other industries. And this one, it has hit its 0.886 retrace from the entire move. It's filled this gap. And, 50 SMA is now back through the 200 SMA. It's looking very bullish, but it's also very extended. I mean, this MACD is in the stratosphere. This RSI is getting hot, starting to show some divergence as we have higher highs in price, but not higher highs in RSI. So we need to, I just wouldn't chase technology up here. I have a lot of names we're going to go over today that I'm waiting for a pullback to get long. I just don't feel comfortable chasing tech at this moment, but that's not to say it can't head, much higher. It could head up to this 10,500 level before we pull back. It just depends how much gas bulls have left in the tank. But I don't want to chase. I'm going to wait for a pullback, to at least this 10 SMA to see what happens. And if the 10 SMA fails, maybe this 9,020 level will be a much better buying opportunity for tech. So that's my view on that. And then the IWM and the DIA are still the laggards. Still having trouble with this 0.50 retrace of this move. The 0.618 retrace is next. The market needs these indices to head higher, for it to head higher, the general market. So, you know, if the IWN starts to break down, that's a sign that the market's tired, and other names might start breaking down as well. And the DIA, same look, you know, just struggling a bit. Still has a bullish look to it, but you know, overall, just not as strong as the NDX or the SBX. All right, individual names. We have a lot of short-term trades that we are liking. Twitter is the first of them. Really strong week, and this is a ticker that at V Giliarsid was interested in, and also one that I'm very interested in. This is looking good for a move to at least the 200 SMA. We've been long since it touched this uptrend line right here, and we're now pretty green this name. We've taken some off, and we're looking for at least a touch of this 200 SMA, and if it can break above the next point of resistance is this downtrend line that's been forming since the highs, and it's also the 0.786 retrace right here. So this 34, 35 area is going to serve as resistance. We're going to take the trade off at that level if we can get there, and if it can bust through and then hold above, and this was the bottom right here, we could be heading much higher. I'm looking at 53. So we'll just have to wait to see what happens if the price can reach this level and how it reacts. But very bullish this name, at least up until here. There's some money to be made in this move up. Next trade we're looking at, we're actually in this one, is BA. Really like this bottoming process. And it looked like it was going to break down, but it didn't, and it broke this downtrend line and is now above the 50 SMA. This has a huge, a lot of shorts are in this name. So if this can break higher, shorts will be forced to cover. I'm first looking for this 0.618 retrace around 158, 160. If it can break through that, very possible we get a massive short squeeze to this 200 level. So nice risk reward here. My stop is a close below this 10 SMA around 129.39, and potential reward of 204. So, you know, little risk, massive reward. Next up, RCL, kind of the same situation as BA. You know, we're having a nice bottoming process. We're above the 10 SMA, above the 50 SMA. And same thing, a lot of shorts are in this name, expecting lower. But if we can get above, start getting above this 46 level, very possible we shoot up here to this 60, which was, this is actually this green line here is a long, very long-term trend line that heads back to 2009 that it had held since 2009. And it's very possible that we get a retest of that trend line, and it happens to be right around 60 and the 0.382 retrace of this entire move down. So I'm actually in this trade now. If we close below the 10 SMA, I'm out, which is around 39.46. Very little risk, and the reward is great, all the way up to 60, 63-ish. Another name we're liking, just appeared on our scanners on Friday. MAXR, it's a space technology company. They had a massive move yesterday, up 21%, and just huge volume. And as you can see, when these the volume spikes in this name, it usually has continuation. So I really like that it had had a high of day close on Friday with this volume, and it closed above the 200 SMA. So this is a possible trend reversal. And if this name gets going, you know, we could see a move to, let's see, 16 pretty quickly. So I got long this trade Friday. If we can head higher, 16 will be my first target. And then if this thing wants to really move, you know, it's had big moves in the past, and it's pretty. Its high was, let's look at it, around in the 60s, and so it's had a pretty big cascade down, and it started to bottom. And if it has bottomed and it keeps going higher, I'm looking for 28.30. I mean, this is much longer term, but you know, if this thing really gets going, it could go quick, and 28.30 is not out of the question. So first up is 16.12. I'm going to take half off there if we get it, and then try to ride this thing to the 28.30 level with a stop at entry. And then if we do close below the 50 SMA, I'll be out of this trade. Next up is OSUR. Really like the look of this. It's had a really strong move and is now pulling back, giving a dip buying opportunity. It sliced through the 0.236 retrace of this move, but looks like it's trying to rebound. I got long this name on Friday, just looking for a quick bounce up to 18, back up to this high. And a stop would be a close below 14.18. So, you know, a 60-cent stop with a potential 3.25 move. Really nice risk reward for this name. As you can see, 200 SMA sloping up, 50 SMA really trending up. So like the strength of this name, and hopefully it finds momentum from this pullback. Next up, pins. Pins is trying to find a bottom here. It's finally broken through this downtrend line after it held a 0.618 retrace of this move up. Broken the downtrend line and still holding the 10 SMA. So, you know, I'm liking the consolidation here, and I'm expecting a move to 22 if it could break above 1930. I'm actually long this name now, but, you know, if you wanted to enter this trade with momentum above 19, you know, 1930, 1950 would be a good point to get long and look for this 200 SMA, which sits right at 22. And then if it breaks below the 10 SMA and closes below it, that's at 1816 right now. That's my stop. So little risk, a lot of reward. Next up, we got SBUX. SBUX, really nice consolidation right here. Great bull flag, holding this 50 SMA and now holding the 10 SMA. A trigger for me, I'm not in this trade yet, but a trigger for me is a intraday move above 79.38. And I'll be looking for the 200 SMA, which is right around 83.35 now. And a stop will be a close below the 10 SMA around, looks like 75.77. So decent risk reward here. And I think it's worth a trade, especially if this bull flag breaks. The momentum should carry us higher. Next up, SHAK. This one's really been frustrating me. I've been waiting to get long this name. Had a nice W bottom, and it's now forming a V. I really like these WV patterns, especially when they break higher. You get a lot of pent-up momentum that can carry it higher fast. And right now we're in this, you know, still consolidation period in this below this downtrend line right now. But if we can close above this downtrend line, momentum can come back into this name quickly and take us to 59 and possibly up to this 68. So, you know, wait for a close above this I would say 53.30-ish. If it can close above that level, that's a good point to get long for a first target of 59, and then a second target of 68. Stop below the 10 SMA, which is right around 50.80. So nice risk reward in that name. And then Tesla, this one's really choppy right now, just consolidating this massive move. And if it can break this flag it's forming, I'm looking for a move to 985. So, the trigger, an early trigger would be above a close above 843, 845. And then if you want to be certain that it's going to move higher, a close, or more certain that it's going to move higher, a close above 870 would be, a much better proving ground to get long. For me, I'm getting long with a close above 845. And then a stop below the 10 SMA is around 809.50. So nice risk reward here. Those are our short-term names that we're liking. Long-term names, that we're going to be in 6 months to maybe 5 years. One of the names I really like, CRSP. This is a biotech with a lot of potential. We've been long this name a while and are going to stay long for a while and continue to add as it proves itself higher. We added on this recent move, and it's trying to break above this resistance point at around 70. If it can break above that and hold, we'll add more. And I'm looking for a move to 99.105 in the longer term. And then, stops for us on longer term trades are below the 200 SMA. So we hold these as long as we can. And, if I can hold them 5 years, if I can hold long-term trades for 5 years, that's where your biggest gains come from, are in your long-term holds. So, that is my goal is to hold this long-term, but this 200 SMA is tells us to get out if it closes below. But right now it looks very good. Another one is iRobot. This one looks like has bottomed, is putting in a very long-term bottom, and so we've got long for the long term, and are continuing to add to this name. You see it broke above the 200 SMA, and it's just kept going. And now the 50 SMA is about to cross through the 200 SMA, a very bullish sign for the long term. So if we can get above this 77 level, I'll add again, looking for this 87. And that's actually the gap fill right here. If we can get there, I'll take some off and wait for a dip to reload. But this one looks very bullish. Obviously a stop below the 200 SMA. Another name that we just got in recently and added to on Friday is Uber. I really like how, even in the choppiness of the market, this has held well and held above the 200 SMA very nicely, signaling a longer term bottom might be in. And then once it breaks above this downtrend line, I'm going to add to it, and I'm looking for an eventual move to 59.60 with a stop below the 200 SMA. So that's our long-term trades. And then we have some trades we're looking to buy the dip, some very extended names. Most of them are technology, extended names that are strong, and we're waiting for them to pull back a bit so that we can buy that dip. One of them is FSLY. We actually caught this name right around here, rode it all the way up, and sold right in the, I would say 36, 37 level, and it's just kept moving higher. I want to get back in desperately because I think this move is not done. This is a 5G company with a lot of potential. I would like to see a dip. I mean, the 0.236 is at 37. I would love a move to the 0.382 which would be a retest of this high right here, right around 32. And then would really love a 0.50 retrace back down to 28, but I'm not going to get greedy. If it hits this 32.20, I'm going to start loading up long. And this is actually, I would love for this to be a longer term name, not just a trade, one that I hold for a while. Another name is ROKU. This is a name that at VTANBB wanted me to go over, and it's a name that I was going to go over anyway because I really like it, and it's dipping very nicely, pulling back to the 50 SMA, which is the 0.382 retrace of this move up. And if it can hold and break this downtrend line, I'm getting long for at least a move to this downtrend line. And then if it can break higher, I'm ultimately looking for 250. So I'm looking for this to be a longer term hold as well. And if it can break above here and then above here, I'll add to the trade, looking for 250. A stop for me would be a close below the 0.50 retrace at 98.50 if we do get in this trade. But I'm going to wait to see how where this thing bottoms. We could keep heading lower to 98.50, and the 0.618 retrace is 89. So we could head lower. So I want to wait until we break this downtrend line first. Once it does, I'm going to get long a starter. And then if it can break this downtrend line, then add to that starter to make it a full position and ride to this 250. And then next up, we got NVIDIA, just a beast. I've been waiting for it to pull back, but it just keeps going. We got long this name, I would say right about here, and then sold right about here before earnings. I didn't want to be in earnings, but of course, had an earnings run up, and it's now bull flagging right here. We could have a move up to 400. I would not be surprised by that. So I don't want to chase here. So if it goes to 400, it's going without me. I want to wait until it pulls back to at least, I would love to see a retest of this high right around 315. If we can get 315, I think that's a great buy for a long-term trade. But it's going to take some patience because this thing may head much higher first. Shop, my goodness, Shop. We got long this name right around here in the 500 area, and then sold up in here. So it was a big win for us. But this thing just keeps heading higher. I want to buy a dip at some point, and this thing is headed so high, I might have to buy the dip right where I sold, which is fine. I do want to hold this name longer term. So some sort of dip down to this 700 level. I'll probably go in a starter. And then if the market gods are in my favor, a dip down to this 0.382 retrace, this consolidation area right here around 650, 630, I'll load up long. I really believe in this company. I think it has a lot of long-term growth potential and is just getting started. So if we can get this level, I think this is a load the boat long scenario. TTD. This one, we caught long on this break of the 200 SMA, rode it all the way up to this 320 level, which was our target. Now we sold. I'm looking for, it's already dipped really nicely to this 0.236, but I'm getting greedy. I want a move down to this 260 level, this 0.382. If we can get that, I think that's a load the boat long for a long-term position. And, I'm a big believer in this name. They're challenging Google in advertising, for just an advertising platform. They're a great alternative, and a lot of people are moving a lot of advertising dollars to trade desk. So a lot of long-term potential here. TWLO, I mean, dude, this thing, my gosh, just massive. We actually sold here. We got long to break the 200 SMA and then sold right here, but it's just kept moving higher. It could possibly move higher to this 238 before it slows down. I'm not going to chase anymore. I've already made my money on this move, and I'm waiting for a dip. You know, we'll have to wait to see where this thing tops before we have dip levels. But, you know, if we can just dip down, back down to this 170 area, you know, even if we can get this 150, that would be phenomenal. So I think as soon as we dip, I think this is a load the boat long. I think this name has just started. This is another company that I think has huge growth potential. So in any kind of dip is good to start, at least with a starter long. This 170, 150 area would be a great place to look to buy the dip. And VEEV, another really strong name. I would love a move back down here to this 0.382 retrace. We sold up here in the 200s. So if I can get a move back down to this 172.22, I'm going to reload the boat. And I think this move is just beginning and will head higher. So this is another long-term trade for us that we're looking to get back into. Next up is some special request tickers that you guys sent in. That first one is brought to us by @TVArmageddon, HDB. This one is, you know, it's a bank, and banks have been absolutely slaughtered. And but, you know, looking at banks, a lot of them are trying to form a bottom, and this one could very well be doing the same thing. This is holding right now the 0.618 retrace of this bottom right here to this top. So if we can hold this 0.618 retrace and then close back above the 50 SMA, that I think that could be a long trigger, and for at least a trade up to this downtrend line right here, for at least a trade. And then if we can break this downtrend line and close above, then there's a shot at 51, 52 area, the 0.618 retrace of this top to bottom, right around the 200 SMA. So that with this, if you're looking to get long, I would take baby steps. First, this, you know, break of this 50 SMA to get long, a starter, and then, you know, take it up, you know, see how it behaves at this resistance level, this downtrend line. If it closes above, then add to it and try to ride it up to this 52. And then I would make your stop a close below this 0.618, because if it closes below, that means this move could possibly be a failure, and we're heading to at least a test of these lows. So that's my advice on HDB. Another requested ticker is MELI. This one comes from @Kevin Y Kevin. It looks to me this one's really extended. I wouldn't chase here. If you wanted to get long this trade, I would wait. Personally, I would wait for a consolidation period. You know, some sort of up and down move, possibly a little lower, just some sort of grinding consolidation period for a couple weeks, and then a break higher. And if it does break higher after some sort of consolidation period, a move to 960.93 is a possibility. That's the 0.1618 retrace of this entire move down. So, you know, 960 is a possibility, but I wouldn't chase if this thing, you know, busts out higher on Monday. I wouldn't chase it. It'd be healthier if this thing rested a minute before it moved higher. And then on a dip, if let's say this was the top, you know, a great dip buying point would be a 0.232 retrace of this move, which would be around 746. that would be a much better entry for, you know, and that's actually testing this breakout right here. So a much better entry would be a move to around 750 for a dip buying opportunity. So I think you should just wait and see what this one does before jumping in. Next up is UUP. This is brought to us by Nicholas F1999. So Nicholas, this green line right here is obvious resistance, and it's holding the 200 SMA very well. If you wanted to get long this trade, I would wait for a close above this resistance line, and you know, if it does close above that, you could get a, you know, a move to the highs of 29-ish. But if it stays in this consolidation period, no sense in getting just, you know, sitting in a dead trade. You know, wait for this to break if you want to get long, and then your stop should be a close below this 200 SMA. All right, guys, that's really all I have. Hope this was educational and you got something out of it. And again, if you guys want more of this, sign up. It's only $50 a month. I meet with members every day at open and at close, and I answer all your questions live in real time. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great Memorial Day weekend. And remember, don't trade for thrills. Just consistently make those dollar bills. All right, I will see you guys in 2 weeks.